and welcome to my humble podcast. I am David, and I will be your moderator today. All right, today we have the slap scene around the world. So we went on Variety, and we wanted to see what they had. So we went on a Variety, and we got Academy Promises Appropriate Action Over Will Smith Incident by J. Kim Murphy. Okay, and then this picture is by Christopher Pope for Variety. Okay, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences has sent a letter to its members addressing the incident that occurred at the Oscars ceremony on Sunday evening when Will Smith walked onto the stage and slapped Chris Rock after the comedian made a joke about the appearance of Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. The letter obtained by Variety states that Academy leadership is upset and outraged over the altercation and how it overshadowed a celebration of the film industry community. Sunday's telecast of the 94th Oscars was meant to be a celebration of the many individuals in our community who did incredible work this past year. We are upset and outraged that those moments were overshadowed by the unacceptable, harmful behavior on stage by a nominee. The message begins. The letter signed for by Academy President David Rubin and CEO Don Hudson also promises that the Academy Board of Governors will now make a determination on appropriate action for Mr. Smith. The group intends to meet Wednesday night, expected to discuss the incident. The Academy also released a statement regarding the incident shortly after the award ceremony concluded on Sunday evening. The Academy does not condone violence of any form. Tonight, we are delighted to celebrate our 94th Academy Award winners who deserve the moment of recognition from their peers and movie lovers around the world. Read the Academy's full letter. Dear members, Sunday's telecast of the 94th Oscars was meant to be a celebration of the many individuals in our community who did incredible work this past year. We are upset and outraged that those moments were overshadowed by the unacceptable and harmful behavior on stage by a nominee. To be clear, we condemn Mr. Smith's actions as transpired Sunday night. As outlined in our bylaws, the Academy's Board of Governors will now make a determination on appropriate action for Mr. Smith, as governed by California law regarding members of nonprofit organizations like the Academy as set forth in our standards of conduct. This must follow an official process that will take a few weeks. We will continue to update you on any developments, but we also ask that you respect your board, Academy staff, and the process as this unfolds so it can work in the considered way it was intended and mandated. Please trust that the Board of Governors will conduct this process in a manner that is both expedient and respectful of all involved while maintaining the standards of the Academy. Thank you, David Rubin, President, Don Hudson, CEO. All right. Once again, let's go through. All right. So the photographer was Christopher Pope for Variety. The article, Academy Promises Appropriate Action Over Will Smith Incident by J. Kim Murphy, which was written on March 29th, 2022 at 8:26 p.m. Pacific time. All right. And then the author has included a copy of the letter that we just read from the Academy of Arts and Sciences. All right. So we have to give the attribution. So we're doing it and we're using that as according to our copyright laws. So anyway, let's get on with it. One of the things about this particular podcast, the slap scene around the world, it affects your branding. You know, your actions they can affect your branding in this media specific world. I have no feelings about it one way, but I just know that it's a teachable moment, and I know that it's a great moment because they made history. So I think Will was the fifth African American person to receive that award, which is a milestone in itself. Correct me if I'm wrong. Also, uh, he's a mega superstar. So it's a lot of responsibility. Like they say, with great responsibility comes great power. And in this case, it went with great power comes great responsibility. So that's the actual real life saying. So what it is with that is he has great power out here. So it's very hard to not be who you are when you have that kind of power. So it was sad on one side, glad on the other side, and then neither on that other side, on the other side beyond that. Now, if you would like to join this chat, you just go to chat.restream.io/Facebook and you put it in there and you click on it, and then it's going to tell you what you need to do to join the chat. Okay, so that's that. All right. What moment here? Good thing I can type so many words per minute, which I learned in the eighth grade. Anyway, let's get on with it. All right. One of the best ways you can look at this is to just look at it for what it was or what it is. It just depends on how you feel about it. It doesn't exist in my mind as a negative thought. What exists is, okay, in this particular situation, how does this affect his branding and his family's branding, and how he spent all these years doing great work in the film industry and philanthropy and supporting people in the diaspora worldwide. And then it coming down to this one incident. As far as his work on that particular movie is outstanding. As far as his work on some other movies has been outstanding. It's just a matter of opinion, but it was good to see him get recognized by his peers as that particular movie to receive that particular award at this particular time, which is very, very great. So here today on March 30th, 2022, we are now understanding what it is and what it ain't. Okay, like they say out here in the street. All right. Will Smith is a mega superstar. I'm gonna keep saying he's a mega superstar. Okay, he's probably made over $1 billion for the people he's made money for as far as making the movies. So it's probably more than that. But he commands his presence wherever he goes. So when he shows up, they all know what it is. This particular time, this was probably out of character for him. So we don't know. We don't know. So, but I'm just saying that's what it looks like to me. So am I judging him to a certain point, but then to a certain point, no. Because I grew up and I was told in my life that when you have a family and you're and/or a part of a family, that you are to protect the family versus all negatives, whether they be domestic or foreign. And that's the generation that I grew up in, and that's the generation before me that they stressed as a young man. We're not talking about none of this other stuff. They're talking about uh, these terms they got out here, toxic masculinity and all that. We're not going to get into that pop culture stuff because right now, it's a lot of stuff that has happened in this world, especially in the previous century, that's going on now, where those that are considered to be men born with a phallic symbol have to go and fight. Look at Ukraine and Russia. They're conscripting men. And there's some women fighting too. I got to commend that. But for the majority of it, they're conscripting men. So I don't hear anything about no toxic masculinity. Those guys got to go to the front lines and they got to fight, whether they want to or not. But it's a fight to the death for their country and countries, I should say. So when they talk about this toxic masculinity, I think about all the wars where all the men died. There's been women that have died too. But I think about those wars that our veterans are coming back, and there's women veterans that come back maimed too. So I don't prescribe to that theory. And the reason why, because the world was built with labor. The world was built with people coming together and making something greater than what was there previously. So I'm not getting into any of them isms or ideologies. No way, Jose, so to speak, because it has no purpose in this world. So this is the part that everyone needs to know, need to look at. Okay, so his Mr. Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, has stated that she's been dealing with alopecia, Okay, you guys can look that up. I'm not going to speak it up anymore, but I understand, and to a person with that, that's their everything because it has to do with their appearance. So whether it's man, woman, or other, it has to do with your appearance. So that's a very sensitive topic and subject, and I get it. I get it. Okay. Now we don't know what Mr. Smith's thinking was when he went up there to get his slap going. But if I was looking at it from street level, that looked like a pimp slap. But usually a pimp slap comes with the back of the hand, but he came with the forward of the hand. Okay, so I guess there's interpretations for it all. Do I condone it? I'm not saying I condone it. I just think that maybe that situation could have been handled better, at somewhere else. I understand that the Smiths have a large property. They could have got with it with him on their property if that's if it was that serious. And then so I just think that it was just a shock watching it. I mean but like I said, I'm from that generation where they taught you to protect your house at all costs. Even when you play sports, they tell you protect the house when you play in your home games. And you have to be in your competitive mind, and then you got to understand and get in your creative mind to be good. And this was a classic example of being in public and being in your competitive mind and not in your creative mind. Because when you're in your creative mind, then you can stop, take a breath, you can take a deep breath, and then you can say, okay, what's the consequences? All right, what's the consequences of this situation? And even with your wife, you guys are a team, or your significant other, you guys should be a team. That's the first. If your significant other doesn't like something, then maybe you can handle it another way. But you can't jump and roll like that. You can't do it, and especially on international TV, and it's beaming out to the world too, and beaming out to space too. So no telling who's looking at that. So they said that they had a 58% uptick, 58 or 59% uptick of people watching the show this particular at this particular time over last year, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see here. All right, well, it's not. I was looking for it. Okay, well, maybe let's see. All right, well, anyway, it's there. It's on Variety. It is there. You can find out whatever you need to, whatever you there it goes. Okay. They said they had yeah, there it is at 58% from last year's historic low. So that's how many more homes and places it went to around the world. So does that make Will Smith a villain? No. It just means he's human. So I get it. I get it, man. I get it. Based on that. A lot of people say, well, that's archaic thought, or that isn't what it needs to be. Well, no, it's not an archaic thought, because when you're with your significant other, you want to have a certain amount of security and safety. And that's one of the attractions to your significant other, that you feel like you can be yourself with them. Okay. Now, on the flip side of that coin, on the flip side, his wife, Miss Jada Pinkett Smith, does have that red table talk where she's explored a lot of situations within his and hers marriage or relationship or situationship. It just depends on how you look at it. And I'm not judging that, but she has let out some information that probably should have been kept private. So it creates a whirlwind out here in the world for them. Because when you thinking creatively, and you're on the same situation with your significant other or wife or whatever companion, whatever it is, you now have a bond. Okay. When that bond is broken, it splits. So anytime anything splits, there's a chance for something else to run through there. So when they had a situation, an entanglement, or whatever they called it, okay, that showed to the rest of the world, it showed a split. Only they know how their relationship works. Maybe that's how their relationship works, or situationship, or other, how it works for them. But to the rest of the world, it looks like this. So now you come back at the show, and then it presumably looks like this. But therein lies the wisdom of everyone's maturity. And what is your maturity? Your maturity level will determine how you look at this situation and either devalue it or value it. Now, like I said, I come from the generation where they said all threats, domestic and foreign. But they also told me on the back end, they also told me, hey, look, sometimes it ain't meant for you to do anything. It's just meant for you to listen and understand when those threats come at you. And you can't look at them always as threats. They're just topics of conversation. So depending on which way you take it is how you're going to handle it. So that's why you want to stay in your creative mind. Because when you get in your competitive mind, guess what? All thoughts and all bets are off. And that's what we saw at that show. It was in a competitive mind. Well, that's one thing while I coach sports, because it was a lot of teaching the kids of when to be and when not to be. So they knew they was in class. They was a football player. They knew they had to go to class and they had to keep their mouth shut. Okay. Because that's where it is. Teacher asked them to do something. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir. That's, you know what I mean? That's what it is. Because they were in the limelight on Friday nights. And if they played in college on Saturday nights, they played NFL on Sunday nights. So in these organizations, where you go, they teach you about these things. So, and a lot of people didn't have that conversation. So we don't know if Will had it or not. We don't know. He's an older man. So we just know that that teaching has to stay with you for the rest of your life. And that's the only way you can have it. Regardless of what you may feel, regardless of what you want to be, does not matter. Will Smith is the only person that knows what Will Smith felt. What we saw was something, out of character for him. But then I went back and watched his other sitcom that he has on, I guess, Bel Air. And when I saw that situation on stage, and I said, wow, is Bel Air semi autobiographical? Because there's a part in there where he had to leave his hometown of Philly to come to LA because of a negative situation that he was involved in. So a lot of people are saying the West Philly came out of him. No, what I say is Will did learn from those situations. If that's really true, that's what happened, then it just, he was being the best he could be. And this had happened numerous times with him and his wife, with this particular comedian. So I get it. And sometimes as a man, because I identify with men, those that have a phallic symbol, I realize that you have to temper it. You got to temper it sometimes. You got to temper it and deal with it another way. As you get older, you just learn to do it in many different ways. And then you got to pass that on to people in your family, the males of your family, and to anybody in your family for that matter right now, because you can end up with a situation where somebody gets shot, things happen that are negative. So this is very important. So I would like to commend how the party that's aggrieved in this situation kept going on with the show and was the more professional person, which was a testament to him. So there's like 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 sides of this story. And I understand that the Academy is going to go ahead and do something. So, anyways, the teaching moment is that your branding can change in any moment from your actions. So Mr. Smith has built up a great brand worldwide, not just here in America. But now, what will his branding be after winning the Oscar? And does the slap go along with the Oscar, or do you just take him for he's done all these movies and all this philanthropy and everything that he's done and is doing for the community at large? So that's a very, very tough question right now. And I'll just take him for doing that previous movie, that movie that he did, and his portrayal. And I got to say, it's a good portrayal. So, anyways, what do you guys think? And this is why I created successstrategy.live, where all my podcasts, everything is there, so that you can deal with yourself. Now, it's not the cure all, be all, see all, know all. It's just I took some of my life situations and put them out here in a positive format, and then let it be known how to move forward. That worked for me. Maybe it can help you. And there's others out here with greater stories than I. And I believe that in our group we have some very great individuals. And I'll be talking about some of the individuals. I know their story. So it's good. It's good and it's real positive. So blessings to all and love for all. Put a smile on your face no matter what happens and keep going. If you get what we call a tongue lashing, parentheses, scolded, put a smile on your face and tell them thank you and keep going and keep moving and doing what you need to do. Be blessed in all that you do every day, even if it's not something that you know you shouldn't be doing. Ask for forgiveness and find out what is that's triggering you to do that. Is that a need, a want, or is it just learned behavior? So find those things out so that you could move forward. We all got them. A while back, I had to move a Viking stove when I was on my job long time ago. And so that stove was so big, but the house was so small. So the workmen they couldn't even go through the sliding glass door in the back. So the house had to be opened up with construction. So a whole day went past for the construction workers to get all of that done. Then put the Viking stove in there, make sure it worked, and then close the home back up. So the homeowner was pissed off. And so we told the homeowner, once it's in here, it's going to work. You're going to have many years of a competent stove working for you. And when you have people come over, you can cook for them all at one time. This was way back, a lot of years ago, actually. So am I advocating for those type of stoves? No. But what I'm saying is that just gives you a picture of how big that stove was. It was 9 burners. All right. So plus a stove. So the person said, you know what? That's a good point. And so she gave us all tips, but invited me back over. So I went back over there at the time allotted, and she had her family over. And then she introduced me as the guy, that did all these things for her and got her to think different. But let me tell you, she had 9 different dishes that all cooked evenly and at the same time, finished at the same time. And she put them on, her little island. And it was some good eating. And to this day, I'm still friends with that lady. So it that's what I'm saying. All of these situations, you got to understand what the good is. So look at that situation. Go back and look at that film of it or video of it. Think about it like this. If he'd have been in his creative mind, he would have stopped, took some deep breaths, and then his mind would have opened up and the anger would have passed. But he was in his creative mind, so his thought processes shrunk down to his hands, okay, or his slap, you know. So that's the difference. That's why you want to stay in your creative mind. And that's why we always talk about staying in your creative mind, because it gives you more choices. So what is this branding going to be? And what do you think? That's what we're going to say. So sound off, let me know. All right. So blessings to everyone. Be your best. Do your best. Give it your all. Have a great night, great day. Look for my next live podcast. Um, be who you need to be. All right. And what I want for myself, I want for others. So thank you with gratitude and faith for listening to me. And may your dreams and your realities become one to push you forward. Have a great one. Bye.